You could taste the failure in the air of the penthouse boardroom. It was metallic and thick. Alastair Finch, a CEO whose temper was as legendary as his company's stock prices, slammed his hand on the mahogany table. The sound cracked through the room like a gunshot. His junior executives flinched. On the giant screen across from them, the faces of the Tokyo delegation were masks of polite, immovable disappointment. Their translator had just finished speaking, and her elegant Japanese words were the final nail in the coffin of a 9-figure deal. "What did she say?" Alastair barked, wheeling on his own translator. The young man, Peterson, was sweating through his collar. Peterson stammered, "Sir, it's complex. The nuance." "Nuance? I don't pay you for nuance, Peterson. I pay you for words." What were her words? They feel our proposal lacks a fundamental understanding of sincerity, of building trust. And they said my phrasing of the liability clause was culturally insulting. Insulting? Alastair's voice dropped to a quiet, dangerous hiss. You insulted them? Our $100 million deal is dead because you don't know your job? He shot to his feet, his shadow falling over the table. His eyes scanned the room, a predator looking for something to break. And then his gaze landed on the woman by the wall, silently wiping a smudge from a beverage cooler. Elena, the maid, a ghost in a gray uniform, always there, but never seen. In his rage, a cruel, mocking idea sparked. He let out a short, humorless laugh. "Well, this is just perfect. My whole team useless." He waved a dismissive hand toward Elena. You're always cleaning up our messes. How about this one?" He strode toward her, his expensive shoes stopping inches from her worn-out sneakers. He smirked down at her, and the whole room held its breath. "Tell you what, I'm feeling generous. You want to take a shot? Translate this. Save this deal, and my salary for the month is yours. Every last penny. All $150,000. He laughed again, louder this time. "The floor is yours. I doubt they teach advanced Japanese business etiquette in housekeeping school, but please, enlighten us." The executive stared. Peterson looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. But Alastair Finch just laughed, enjoying the sheer arrogance of his own challenge. He expected her to shrink, to stammer an apology and run. He did not expect her to slowly place her cleaning cloth on her cart, straighten her back, and meet his gaze with an unnerving, absolute calm. Just 24 hours earlier, that same calm was a mask for a storm of a different kind. Elena's world wasn't a penthouse boardroom. It was a cramped, third-floor apartment that smelled of damp and desperation. The first thing she saw when she got home wasn't a welcome, but a bright orange eviction notice jammed in her door. The words swam before her eyes. Final notice. Vacate the premises within 36 hours. Her hand trembled as she pulled it free. Inside, a small, racking cough echoed from the living room. Her 7-year-old daughter, Maya, was huddled on the sofa, her face pale with fever. It was another bout of bronchitis, her third in 6 months. This crumbling apartment with its drafty windows and mold creeping up the walls was making her daughter sick. On the kitchen table, next to a stack of bills she couldn't pay, was a letter from the hospital. A bill for Maya's last emergency room visit. It came with a polite but firm note. Future non-emergency treatment would require a deposit. The amount circled in red made her stomach clench. $2,200. It might as well have been $2 million. Elena walked over and placed her hand on Maya's forehead. It was too warm. "Hi, Mommy," Maya whispered, her voice hoarse. "Hi, my love. Did you eat your soup?" Maya nodded, then coughed again, a weak, rattling sound that sent a fresh wave of panic through Elena. She was failing her. Every hour she spent cleaning the offices of a man who spent more on lunch than she made in a week was an hour she wasn't earning enough to give her daughter a safe, warm home. Later, as Maya slept, Elena pulled a dusty box from under a bookshelf. Inside, nestled among old photos, was a framed certificate, a master's degree in linguistics and cross-cultural communication from Beijing University. She'd been top of her class, fluent in 9 languages, her future once a dazzling horizon of possibility. But then her husband left, the student loans came due, and Maya was born. She sent out over 300 applications, 300 rejections, or worse, just silence. She was overqualified, or she lacked corporate experience, or the position was mysteriously filled. Slowly, that dazzling horizon had shrunk to the rim of a mop bucket. For 4 years, she had perfected the art of being invisible. She emptied the wastebaskets of executives discussing emerging Asian markets and Hispanic consumer trends. She cleaned the coffee rings they left behind while she silently corrected their cultural assumptions in her head. She understood every word, but irony didn't pay the rent. Irony didn't cover a $2,200 hospital bill. Working for Alastair Finch was its own special torment. He was the embodiment of the world that had shut her out. He never saw her, sometimes nudging her card aside with his shoe as if it were trash. To him, her gray uniform was a cloak of invisibility. She had watched countless meetings from the sidelines. She had heard Peterson, the main translator, make small but crucial errors, mistaking polite deference for weakness. She had bitten her tongue so many times it was raw. Speaking up would risk the only job standing between her family and the street. To survive, she had to be invisible. Closing the box, Elena felt despair wash over her. 36 hours. The number echoed in her mind. Survival wasn't enough anymore. She needed a miracle. She just never imagined it would come dressed as her boss's public humiliation. A heavy silence fell over the boardroom, thick with disbelief. Every eye was on Elena. The junior executive stared with a mix of pity and morbid curiosity. Peterson, the failed translator, looked at her with wide-open eyes, as if begging her not to make things worse. On the screen, the Japanese delegation, led by the formidable Mr. Yoshida, watched this bizarre corporate drama unfold, their faces unreadable. Alastair's smirk was plastered on his face. He'd made a cruel joke to show everyone who was in charge. He expected her to break. She didn't. In that thundering silence, Elena wasn't thinking about Alastair Finch. She was thinking about an orange eviction notice. She was hearing her daughter's cough. She was seeing 2200 circled in red. For 4 years, invisibility had been her shield. Now she realized it was a cage, and her arrogant boss had just handed her the key. With a quiet grace that was its own act of defiance, she took off her yellow rubber gloves, folded them neatly, and placed them on her cart. It was a simple act, but it was a declaration. She was no longer just the maid. She took a step forward. Her worn shoes made no sound on the carpet. She stopped a respectful distance from the table, her posture perfectly straight. "Mr. Finch," she said. Her voice was quiet, but it carried a weight no one in that room had ever heard. It was clear, steady, and held not a trace of fear. "Mr. Finch, you offered me your salary for the month, $150,000, is that correct?" Alastair's smirk faltered. He was so stunned all he could manage was a clipped, "Yes, that's what I said." "And you wish for me to save this deal," she continued, stating it as a fact. "That was the proposition," he stammered, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Elena nodded once. She then turned to the massive screen and bowed her head in a perfect, formal gesture of respect. "Yoshida-sama," she began, and the room gasped. The Japanese that flowed from her wasn't hesitant or academic. It was flawless, fluent, and nuanced. "I must extend my deepest apologies on behalf of my company for this unfortunate misunderstanding," she said in Japanese. "Our previous translation failed to convey the depth of our respect. Our proposal was communicated poorly, and I apologize that it came across as lacking sincerity." On the screen, Mr. Yoshida's eyebrows, which had been drawn in a severe line, rose slightly. He leaned forward, his eyes locked on the woman in the simple gray uniform. Alastair Finch stood frozen, a statue of disbelief. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the sudden shift in the room. He was no longer in control. His cleaning lady was.
Elena continued, her voice calm and authoritative. The clause regarding liability was framed from a Western legal perspective. It was meant to create a safety net, not to imply a lack of trust. Our intention is to build a partnership based on mutual honor and shared risk. She paused, then did something Peterson would never have dared. She addressed Mr. Yoshida's unspoken concern directly. "You are worried, Yoshida-sama, that we are a company of empty words, that we speak of partnership but prepare for conflict. Please allow me to reframe this, not as a list of demands, but as a foundation for a shared journey." For the next 10 minutes, Elena wasn't a maid, she was a master diplomat. She didn't just translate, she mediated. She took Alastair's aggressive business points and reframed them in the language of Japanese corporate culture, emphasizing harmony, long-term growth, and mutual benefit. She rebuilt the bridge Peterson had burned, stone by painstaking stone. Finally, she finished. She gave another slight, formal bow. "I hope this has provided the clarity your team deserves, Yoshida-sama. We are eager to proceed, but only as true partners." Silence returned, but this time it was the silence of pure awe. On the screen, Mr. Yoshida broke into a slow, broad smile. He spoke quickly to his own translator, who nodded enthusiastically. Then he looked directly at the camera, his gaze fixed on Elena. His translator's voice, now tinged with reverence, cut through the quiet. "Mr. Yoshida says he is deeply impressed. He says you have not only translated the words, you have translated the soul of the business. He says this is the partner he has been looking for. He accepts the terms as you have reframed them. The deal is on." The collective sigh of relief in the boardroom was like a gust of wind. The executives were gaping, their faces a comical mix of shock and relief. Alastair Finch was completely still, his mind failing to compute what had just happened. He looked from the beaming faces on the screen to Elena, who stood with a quiet dignity, as if she had just finished saving a $100 million contract, which, of course, she had. Mr. Yoshida spoke, and his translator said, "Mr. Yoshida would like to know the name of your company's head of international negotiations. He insists on dealing with her directly for the final signing." All eyes snapped back to Alastair. Head of international negotiations. They didn't have one. They had Peterson, and they had her. Elena met his gaze, her expression unreadable. There was no triumphs in her eyes, just calm, patient waiting. The spell broke. Alastair moved, walking slowly around the table until he stood before Elena. He looked at her, truly looked at her for the first time. He didn't see the uniform, he saw the sharp intelligence in her eyes. He didn't see a servant, he saw the person who had just rescued his company from his own mess. Humiliation warred with a new feeling of respect. "What is your name?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "Elena," she replied. "Elena," he repeated. He had humiliated this woman, used her as a prop, and she had saved him anyway. He pulled an expensive fountain pen from his jacket. "I need your full name and your account information," he said, his voice low. $150,000. It was a gesture of surrender. That night, Alastair couldn't rest. He went to the security office and pulled the surveillance footage from the boardroom. Alone in the dark, he watched it all again. He saw his own mocking laughter and winced. Then he watched Elena. He saw her quiet composure, heard the power in her voice. He hadn't just underestimated her, he had been a blind fool. That gray uniform hadn't made her invisible, it had made him blind. He realized a check wasn't going to be enough. The next morning, Elena arrived for her shift, her heart pounding. The money would solve everything: the eviction, the medical bills, a new apartment. She was ready to take the check and disappear. Surely she couldn't keep her job after yesterday. But Alistair's personal secretary was waiting for her. "Miss Elena, Mr. Finch would like to see you." Miss Elena. The title was new. The secretary led her not to the boardroom, but to a large, empty corner office with a stunning view of the city. Alistair was standing by the window. "Elena," he began, "please sit down. First, I want to apologize. My behavior yesterday was inexcusable, arrogant, demeaning, and I am truly sorry." Elena was so surprised by his sincerity, she could only nod. He slid a cashier's check across the desk. The number made her breath catch. "That is what I promised, but it's not enough. Frankly, it's an insult for what you did." He leaned forward. "I did some research. Master's degree, Beijing University, top of your class. You speak 9 languages." He shook his head. "And you've been cleaning my floors for 4 years." He took a deep breath. "This check will solve your immediate problems. The real problem is that a person with your talent is being wasted, that I was too blind to see it." He stood up. "This is your new office, Elena. I'm creating a new position, Head of International Communications and Strategy. Your starting salary will be double what I just paid you. You will report directly to me. You will lead the conversation from now on." Tears welled up in Elena's eyes. It was too much. The relief, the vindication. It wasn't just the money, it was about being seen. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Say you'll accept," Alistair said, his voice gentle. "Help me make this company less blind." The weeks that followed were a blur. Elena ripped up the eviction notice. She took Maya to the best pediatric specialist in the city. They moved into a bright, spacious home with clean air and a small garden. For the first time in years, Maya's cough was replaced by the sound of laughter. At work, the transformation was just as dramatic. Elena traded her gray uniform for tailored suits. The whispers of, "Is that the maid?" quickly turned to whispers of awe. "That's Elena. She saved the Yoshida deal." She proved to have a keen strategic mind, honed by years of silent observation. She saw opportunities others missed and negotiated with a grace and strength that earned respect in every room she entered. Alistair Finch changed too. He started learning the names of all his employees. He started listening more than he talked. He learned a hard lesson. Talent doesn't wear a name tag, and value isn't dictated by a uniform. 6 months later, Elena sat in her glass-walled office, leading a video conference with a new partner in Brazil, switching effortlessly between Portuguese and English. The deal was complex, the stakes high, and she was in complete command. As she laid out the final terms, she saw Alistair pause in the hallway, holding a cup of coffee. He caught her eye through the glass and lifted his cup in a small salute, a quiet acknowledgement of the leader she had become. With a small, genuine smile, he turned and walked away. Elena smiled back, a deep smile of her own, and turned her attention back to the screen, back to the future she had claimed for herself. Elena's story is a powerful reminder that potential is everywhere, often in the last places we think to look. If her journey from the shadows to the boardroom moved you, and you believe a little courage can change everything, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We share new soul-stirring stories just like this every week.